The purpose of today's training session is to cover the self-direction module within LTSS Maryland, and specifically to cover it from the perspective of an FMCS provider and what they can do for a participant within LTSS Maryland. What I have displayed on my screen is a training guide that has been put together for the FMCS providers. This covers everything that we'll be going through in today's training session. To begin, everything within LTSS Maryland is access control based, meaning in order to gain access, you must be first set up with a staff profile. A staff profile tells the system who you are, what agency you work for, and what your user roles are. And user roles control your access permissions within the system, which we'll discuss further in this session. To begin, I'm going to simulate logging into the system as an FMCS administrator. The first topic we will discuss today is how an FMCS administrator can manage the staff within their location. To manage the staff profiles of staff within your organization, you'll first navigate to Menu in the upper right-hand corner, then Administration, and select My Location/Staff. From this page, you'll see a listing of any staff currently associated to your location, and you'll also have the ability to create new staff within your location. To begin, we'll discuss how you can view, monitor, and update or edit existing staff profiles. To view an existing staff profile, identify that staff in the list and click on the Details link under the Actions column. From here, you can see the basic content about that staff's profile. To make any modifications, you'll select the Edit button. From here, the system will allow you to update whatever information you need to about your staff, whether it be their name, business title, email address, or if a staff stops working for your organization, this is also where you would come to inactivate their profile. To do so, you would check the box related to status and set their status to inactive so that they could no longer log into the system. Once you've made any necessary updates, you would click the Save button in the upper right-hand corner. The next thing you can do as an administrator is to create a new staff's profile within your system. From the My Locations page, to create a new staff, you click the Create Staff link on the right-hand side of the screen. Getting a new user set up into LTSS Maryland is actually a two-step process. The first step is completed by the FMCS administrator, and the second step needs to be completed by the help desk of the overall system, which I'll discuss in a moment. As the FMCS administrator, step one is creating that new profile. So to do so, you'll have to fill out all the required pieces of information, which you'll see marked in yellow and marked with a red star. Also important that when setting up a new staff's profile that you put an email address in their record. This is important because when they get set up by the help desk with their login and password, it will be connected to this email in the event they ever forget their password or need help resetting it. When creating a new staff, you'll want to make sure you associate them to the correct location. And at this point, this is where you can assign them the corresponding user roles within the system. Now for FMCS providers, we have created two distinct user roles. We have an FMCS administrator and we have FMCS staff. The administrator role has full permissions of all participants assigned to your location, as well as the ability to create new staff and update staff profiles. Whereas FMCS staff user role only has access to those participants that have been specifically assigned to them, which we will discuss further in this training session. So assign the appropriate user role or roles, and that's another thing to keep in mind is that you can have multiple staff with the administrator role, and a staff can have both of these roles if need be. You would also want to make sure you associate them to the correct programs types that they're supporting. So for example, I'm going to choose all of our DDA related programs, and I'll put a phone number in their record. Now, the last section within the staff profile is called login information. You do not fill in this information. That is the responsibility of the help desk. So as the FMCS administrator, you complete all these other sections. You would click save. And now we would move on to step 2. So in order for step 2 to be completed, you as the FMCS administrator now have to email the help desk requesting them to set up a login and password for this new staff. To do so, you're going to email ltsshelpdesk@ltssmaryland.org. When you send that email, in the subject line, you should indicate that you're requesting a new login for a new staff for LTSS Maryland. And in the body of that email, it's helpful to include the name of that new staff, the name of your agency, and it's always best to actually copy and paste the URL from your browser into that email. That way, when the help desk receives it, they can navigate directly to this profile so that they know the correct staff that they're setting it up for. Now, once you send that email in, the help desk will create a ticket in their system, and they will reach out directly to that end user, communicating their login name and a process to set up a password. And once that step is completed, the new staff member would be granted access to LTSS Maryland. So now that we've discussed the process of setting up and managing staff profiles, let's take a look at what you can actually do within LTSS Maryland in relationship to participants when it comes to self-direction. So I am still logged in as an FMCS administrator. That's the perspective I'm operating as right now. So the first thing I want to do is discuss the different ways that you can access a participant's record in LTSS Maryland. The first way is through our Clients tab. From this page, you can actually search for a particular participant if you have key identifying information, such as their client ID, last name, first name, social security number, MA number, or date of birth. It is important to note that you will need to use a combination of at least 3 of these criteria to access the client's record. The second way that you will be notified about what participants you are assigned to is through the alerts page. Anytime your FMCS provider location is assigned to a participant, you will receive an alert that looks like this. It will say this client has been assigned to your agency as of, and it'll give you an effective date. And you can actually click on that link and it'll take you directly to that user's profile within LTSS Maryland. Now, before we go any further there, I'm going to go back to our alerts page and discuss the second type of alert you can expect to receive related to participants. So the same way you'll receive an alert when your agency is assigned, you would also receive an alert if your agency gets unassigned from a participant for any reason. And there would be 2 particular reasons why that would occur. The first one would be if the participant decides to transition from one FMCS provider to another. So you would receive an alert saying that the client has been unassigned from you, and it'll indicate as of what date that occurred. The second way is if the person just decides to leave self-direction altogether. And that is through a deactivation process. And again, you as the FMCS provider would receive this notification if that occurs. Now, the third way you as an FMCS provider can easily access what participants are assigned to your location is through our reports capability. If you navigate to the reports tab at the top, you will see that the FMCS has been granted access to a report we call the current assignments report. To run that report, click the view link under the actions column. There are 2 different views into this report. If you have the FMCS administrator role, then it will produce a list of all participants assigned to your location. If you have the FMCS staff user role, it will only show you the participants that you are specifically assigned to. And again, I'm going to show you in just a few minutes how you can actually assign a specific FMCS staff to a participant to establish that relationship. Now, the report itself will give you basic information about that participant, such as their name, MA number, who their assigned staff are, what jurisdiction they live in, what programs they're associated to. And you'll notice that the first column, called Client ID, is a hyperlink. You can actually click on that hyperlink and it will take you directly into that participant's record. Now, before we start exploring the different type of information you can view within a participant's record, we're going to discuss how you can actually assign a specific FMCS staff to a participant. This would be the role and responsibility of any user within your location that has the FMCS administrator user role. To complete a staff assignment, navigate to the Assignments tab in the top level navigation. In the left navigation, you'll want to select FMCS Staff Assignments. And from here, It's going to produce a listing of any participant that has been assigned to your location that has not yet been assigned a specific staff. So you can see my filter here is unassigned. So to establish a relationship or an assignment of a staff to a participant, you would choose that participant. And if there were multiple in this list, you could choose multiple at once if you needed to. And then down at the bottom in the assign to staff dropdown, you would choose which staff you wanted to assign that participant to. So you choose the staff, and then to complete the assignment process, you click the assign button. When you do that, that participant will be removed from the unassigned list because now you've assigned a staff. The staff member that you assigned will receive an alert notifying them of the assignment, at which point they can start accessing that participant's record. The other thing you can do as an administrator is if you need to reassign a participant from one of your staff members to another, you would change the filter by status to assigned. You would choose the staff member that currently has that assigned participant, and you could choose that participant and choose a different staff member to do a transfer from one staff to another. So that's another capability that you as an FMCS administrator will have within LTSS Maryland. So now that we've established the relationship of an FMCS staff assignment to a participant, let's take a look at what you can actually view within the participant's record. When you as the FMCS provider are assigned to a participant, if you look in the left navigation when accessing that participant's record, you can see that it is broken down into multiple modules. The first area is what we call client. Within client, you have access to the client profile. This is where you can view basic information about that individual, such as their demographic information, their Medicaid information, phone numbers, address, representatives, and so on. This is a view-only section for you for informational purposes. The second area within the participant's record that you have access to is what we call the client summary. The client summary aggregates some of the most important information about the participant across various areas within LTSS Maryland. The first section will give you information on their eligibility, such as if they have Medicaid, what their number is, what their coverage group is. If they're enrolled in a particular program, this is where you can see their special program and their enrollment period. You can view their level of care information and MFP eligibility information. Another important piece of information that you can gain from the client summary page is through the current assignments. There are two types of assignments that occur within LTSS Maryland: agency level assignments and staff level assignments. The same way we've been discussing how you can assign an FMCS provider and a staff to the participant, there are other agencies that operate within LTSS Maryland that can also be assigned to a participant. And you as the FMCS provider will have access to view contact information for those various agencies and staff that are assigned to that participant in the event that you need to do any care coordination. We also have a section for current enrollment where we can show you what program the participant is enrolled in and as of what date. And those are the key critical pieces of information for the FMCS on the client summary. The next section within the left navigation is what we call case management. Now within this area, you have access to alerts where you can view any specific alerts you've received about this participant. You can also access the reportable events module. Within the reportable events module, this is where you can see and view any reportable events that have been logged for a participant that you're managing. And again, this is view-only information. And then the final area under case management is what we call client attachments. Within client attachments, we've created a new category called FMCS documents, and this is where you as the FMCS provider will have the ability to upload any supporting artifacts to this participant's record. Guidance will be given to the FMCS providers from DDA in terms of what types of documentation should be uploaded. But from the system's perspective, in order to complete an upload process, you would click on the Add New Attachment link in the upper right-hand corner. You would choose what file from your computer you wish to upload. You would put it in the FMCS document category, and you can optionally log any comments about that file if you want to. And then to actually upload into that participant's record, you just click the Save button. Once you've done that, it'll store that attachment against that participant's record. Then any authorized user can come in and click on that file's name to download it and view the information. You as the FMCS also have the ability, if you upload an attachment in error, you can delete that attachment from the participant's record as well. The next area in the left navigation is called programs. Now, there are various areas within the programs section that you can view. I'll briefly touch on each. You have the ability to view DDA eligibility forms. You can view health assessment information, such as information from their HRST and NRI. You have access to view level of care information to see whether or not this person has met level of care. You have access to appeals information, but most importantly, and where you'll likely spend most of your time in the event you're accessing this participant's information, is in our Plan of Service and Person-Centered Plan module. To view person-centered plan information, click on the POS PCP SP link in the left navigation, and you can see that you have access to this participant's person-centered plan. So this particular participant has an active person-centered plan for the Community Pathways program, and you can view the information within there by clicking the View link under the Actions column. And within the service authorization section, that's where you'll find information related to what services this person is authorized for, and you can find budgetary information. And the other thing to be mindful of is when it comes to the FMCS providers association to a participant, once that assignment is made within LTSS Maryland, there is also a data extract file that will be sent to the FMCS provider. And anytime there is changes to the person-centered plan, though an updated file will be sent to the FMCS provider. That covers everything for today's training. Thank you.